discuss about everything disability. Today we have Jonathan Shar with me. Hi, Jonathan.
Hello.
Tim Lachlan
Hey,
and Ibby
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
and myself, David D.
Thank you, David. Thank you for introducing. Timothy, what are we going to be talking about today?
tonight we're going to be talking about a bit of a heavy topic, so I'll just give a content warning before we kick things off. We're going to be discussing how to overcome disability discrimination. So as we speak of this tonight, we might talk about some examples of disability discrimination or just general information around that. So if that's a topic that you find distressing, you're more than welcome to leave now. But otherwise, we're going to dive right into it.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah.
And please, if anyone wants to write comments, please do so. And
Yeah,
if
look.
you want to share your experiences, please do so.
Yeah. Thank you, David. Yeah, it's a pretty sensitive topic. Has anyone here ever, come across discrimination?
Discrimination.
Yeah.
I think
it's
everyone has. Yeah.
Give me an example.
Yeah, it's not a
discrimination.
good feeling, is it? It's not a good feeling at all.
No.
Yeah, David. Give us an example of a time you've come across disability discrimination.
Well, some people look at me and think I fake it.
Yep.
Like, okay.
And why did they assume that?
I don't know. Maybe because I've gotten good at walking around with my disability, and I dress.
How does that make you feel, David?
Well, it makes me. I don't let it get me down because, at the end, if they think I'm not disabled, I haven't got a disability, then I guess they've got a problem that I probably. I'll put it in a different way where it makes me feel like, all right, I guess if they don't think I've got a disability, then I guess they're either jealous of me or they. I try to motivate myself better because
Yep.
it's
It's all good. It's not a good feeling at all, is it, David?
no.
Look, just before we do move on, we got a comment from Sarah. Hello, Sarah. Thank you for joining us. So she goes, yes, just recently I had my worst ever experience. If you want to share, let us know. But yeah, look, that's the reality for people with disability. They come across discrimination most of the time, even when they're out there in their community. Tim, have you ever had any form of discrimination?
Yeah, I've come across discrimination heaps of times. I've been a wheelchair user for about 14 years now, and just recently I've had discrimination from a business, and to not go into too much detail, but I guess it will serve as a good example because I'm speaking of how to overcome disability discrimination. So I have a younger sister. She's 2 years younger than me, and she has autism and intellectual disability. And the other weekend, she wanted to go ice skating. So we went ice skating, and my sister hadn't been ice skating for a while, so she was unsure of how to get around the rink. And she was quite slow on holding onto the edges. And I'm in a wheelchair when I go out, and I asked if I could go on the ice to... sorry, ADHD makes my storytelling a bit all over the place. When I first went to the ice rink, they told me that I wouldn't be able to go on the ice, and that they have a wheelchair only session that I could go to. But I told them that I wasn't. It wasn't going to be me ice skating. It was going to be my sister, because I thought my sister could skate by herself. But when we put her on the ice, she was unsure of herself. So I had to go have a big conversation with the manager and say, by you saying I can't go on the ice to go help my sister is disability discrimination, because she has a companion card and I serve as her support worker at that time. Like, I'm supporting her to do what she wants. So after I had that conversation, they did allow me to go on the ice and skate with her, and that was all fine and dandy from there. But the fact that I have to even advocate for myself to go onto an ice rink, it seems a bit ridiculous to me. That they also have this like segregation policy, like, oh, you can only come in on a Friday or something to be in the wheelchair on the ice. So the way that I'm going about overcoming that discrimination is I got a hold of the fellow who owns the place, and I've written him an email letting him know gently, like, not. This is the thing, when you want to tell somebody that they're discriminating, you always have to take a calm educational approach, because sometimes people who discriminate against you, they don't know any better. So if we attack them and have this angry approach first, they're not going to be very likely to work with us and hear what we have to say. So I said to this fellow quite nicely, I understand that you think wheelchair users are a hazard on the ice, but that's not necessarily the case, because your policy, it got in the way of me looking after my sister. Because I don't think their policy planned for a person with a disability to be supporting a person with a disability, and that is an assumption that disabled people can't support each other. So there's one issue there, and the second issue is not allowing wheelchairs on the ice, but also having a separate day where only like wheelchairs can come in. So I said that's actually a form of segregation and disability discrimination. I've actually yet to hear back from the fellow, but hopefully we can work to some sort of good, solution where he understands that wheelchair users aren't a hazard to people in ice rinks, and that, they can skate alongside able-bodied people in the sessions. But if, for instance, things didn't go well and they got defensive or didn't want to exactly meet a solution that would benefit people with disabilities and make it so we could skate alongside each other equally, that's when I would probably look into contacting someone with a bit more knowledge in the area, so maybe a disability law firm or potentially even the Human Rights Commission, because it's a case of being discriminated against on the basis of disability. And we as people with disabilities in Australia, we have what's called the Disability Act, and that the Disability Discrimination Act, and that is what is meant to protect us from these types of discrimination. There's actually 6 types of discrimination that can occur for people with disabilities, and I'll list them now so we can understand them and explore them a bit more. But what we have is, the first type is direct discrimination. So I believe that's what I'd categorize my experience that I've just explained, was I was directly discriminated against because I use a wheelchair. I was told I couldn't go on the ice unless I went on at a certain day and time. And we also have what's called indirect discrimination. That happens when there's like a policy or a way that an organization works, and it puts people with disabilities at a disadvantage. An example.
Tim, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I know you're in the wheelchair, but have you realised maybe people with wheelchairs don't like when other people on ice while they're on also?
Yeah, it could also be that, but I feel it wasn't necessarily that as the sole reason, because they said no wheelchairs at all on the ice during regular sessions, and if it's
maybe they're thinking about case by
No,
case.
but I guess the idea of segregating people with disability with the community, how does that make you feel, activity? Being segregated,
Yeah, that's
being
the
classified
part
as special.
yeah, that's the part I take issue with. Like, I understand that the person running this joint thinks it's a good thing to have like a wheelchair only day, but it is segregation, and I don't think I should be made to attend on a certain day and time just to go do something that somebody who walks could do at any day or time that they please. Because to me, that fits the definition of discrimination. If you're being dictated to when you can do something, but if your able-bodied peers can go do that whenever they want, it seems a bit unfair to me.
Yeah, I guess.
Question on that certain time, are people with able bodies allowed to go on the ice while people with wheelchairs are on?
Yeah, the way they set it up is like they allow you to go on the ice for that time, and they'll let you bring your friends and family and stuff. But I think it's mostly like a wheelchair only session because there was perhaps some incident where they came up with a blanket rule against wheelchairs, so that's why I've included in my email to try and figure out why this rule is, and to try advocate that if it is on a safety basis, that it does be done on a case by case basis. But yeah, I don't think a blanket rule is the way to go because, as I said, I was supporting my
It's
sister that day, and something that was put in place potentially because of an incident with wheelchair users before has negatively affected me as someone supporting other people with a disability.
it's it's always good to understand the history behind it, and also you can tell him to reword it only if you're supporting someone with a disability.
So
Yeah,
you're saying, David, that they should change the rules. They should change the law.
Change the wording of the rules, because not telling him he can't go on, but he can't go he can go on if he's assisting someone. Because why, and and the history of it, why.
yeah. Like I do agree that you have to try gain the backstory from their end as to why something is the way it is, but also in that you try understand how can we come towards a solution that doesn't accidentally segregate people or put people in these situations where they aren't as privileged as somebody who can walk, because that fits the definition of discrimination. If you're making people attend at different times or do things a different way.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but look, I guess look, segregation is never a good thing, especially for us people with disability. Because segregation, it limits our inclusiveness, and it limits our communication with other people. So it's we should blend into society. We should become inclusive. That's,
Yeah,
I think, very important. We need to, I guess, get rid of this discrimination.
yeah, that's
It's not a
exactly
good
it.
thing.
Yeah, it's not good to discriminate against others. We
Yeah,
need to understand each other's needs. If you had someone that was able with you, I think they should allow you to go on with an able body, because you've got someone with you.
Yeah.
yeah. Like I agree that could be a good thing, but also, do you think it might be a bit? I'm not very good at picking the wording for this, but like I don't feel it's right to make a person in a wheelchair have to go on with somebody because as wheelchair users we can be independent, and I feel that's kind of like infantilizing someone if we're making them have
For
you know,
example,
a support
for
person.
example, if you've got a wheelchair, but you got a motorized one, wouldn't that make
Mm.
someone do donuts on the ice?
Um. Yeah, look, I guess there is that weight limit, but in saying that, look, I guess if you're using a manual chair, then it would be fine.
Yeah, if you're using your, like, even if you use a power chair, if you use your mobility device responsibly, then I see no problem with it. But if you're going to be wanting to do donuts or something, then I can absolutely vouch for having a wheelchair only session where you can go mad on the ice and do donuts. But if you're just wanting to like skate around or something, and you know, most people when they go to ice rinks, you don't see them doing crazy spins and stuff. Anyway, they're just kind of going around in circles on the ice. So if you're doing it like everyone else, I'd say it's safe. But if you're running people over or doing donuts, then I understand why there'd be that rule.
That's probably why they don't want able bodies on at the same time, because other people can get injured.
Yeah, that's why I think we have to explain, because that's happened. Well, obviously, that something like that has happened, and they've come up with this blanket rule. But explain that the blanket rule has its limitations because it affected myself as a person with a disability providing care to another person with a disability. So to say that it should be done by case basis, or even if you just check with the person in the chair beforehand, like you let them know, hey, if you want to go on during an able-bodied session, don't go crazy type thing. If you want to go crazy, we have a go crazy session on this day type thing. So yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough.
So
Just a comment from Sarah. So Sarah shared a story with us in terms of like discrimination. So she said that she was in the art gallery. I go when no one else is there, so I have room to move on my wheelchair. The security guard didn't trust that my wheelchair wouldn't hit the artwork. Long story, but she refused to leave my side. She walked in front of my wheelchair, not letting me move. I kept smiling and being quiet, but then she called for help. The person came and just watched me. They chatted with me and left. Then a second time, the guard called for help. She kept saying I was too close. Then we have another comment. Sorry, yeah, gotta continue. Also, I am not allowed to audition for stage shows. Wow. So I started my own production business last year, so we all can perform together. All this year, I've been tested like the poor disabled girl who's just doing this to stay occupied. Um, no, I am talented and I'm running a proper business. Yeah, look, Sarah, yeah, that shouldn't be the case. Everyone has the right to freedom. Everyone has the right to, be independent. And yeah, the guard shouldn't have done that. What are your thoughts?
Sarah, I think the guard was trying to keep by your side in case you don't bump into something, so it doesn't create damage to something that you're gonna have to pay later.
That's fair enough, David. But we're pretty responsible. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
we're pretty responsible with the way we control our wheelchair.
Yeah. Can I just interject there? And I'll explain, maybe, David. But for us wheelchair users, and it also extends to any other mobility device, our wheelchairs or crutches, canes, they're like an extension of our body. So we're generally pretty aware of where our bodies and wheelchairs are in space, and we know not to hit things.
That's a good
So
point.
yeah, I feel for Sarah, I'm sorry that you've had that experience, and I hope that you have emailed these people to let them know what they did wasn't right, because in my opinion, it's coming back to this word again, infantilizing it. It's treating you like a child, like a toddler, assuming that you're not capable of being independent and looking after yourself just because you use a mobility device. I guess a way I can make this relate to you, David, I'm not sure if you use a cane to help you navigate, but have you?
I do. I use a cane.
Yeah, you use a cane to navigate. So, for instance, say you're in an art gallery, but like you're able to navigate along the floor and stuff. You're obviously going to hit things if there's paintings on walls, but like, would you
try
feel?
not to, but
Yeah, you try not to.
if I go to art gallery, I make sure someone's with me.
Yeah, you'd have someone with you.
So
But say, okay, say you have one person with you. What about if you had maybe 2 security guards assigned to you as well as the person assisting you? Would you feel that's a bit too much?
That'll be
Well,
too
for me,
much.
I would feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it does feel uncomfortable because you feel like you're being treated like a child. Like you know, as a person with a disability, you generally know your body and your limits pretty well. And
Look,
I think the problem comes from people assuming your abilities or lack thereof. So,
what I think should have happened, the security or someone from the art gallery should have spoken to her and told her, "Can we assist you around?" And explain the situation. And if that would have been an easier and more mellow task.
Yeah, but again, advocating for Sarah, she said that she, could get herself around, and they didn't listen. But go on, Ibby.
Now, look, I guess David's right. I agree with David. Just ask for that assistance, and if Sarah says no, I'm good. Then just move on. They don't need to follow her. I'm pretty sure we're pretty experienced with using our mobility devices, and so in saying that, we're not gonna go and smash into the walls. Well, everyone's deserves the right to visit the art gallery. They deserve the right to move around. I use a powered wheelchair, and I navigate it okay. I've never had problem. We treat it as if, like Tim said, it's our own body. So we're very careful the way we use our mobility devices, and so that's very important. If so, you did go and I guess damage some of the stuff that are there, then they'll probably put you like on a warning or something, or maybe ban you. But you've never had any problems, have you, Sarah? So there's no need for them to interfere.
Maybe if
You
they
know what I mean?
asked you, and then if you said you don't need any help, they can watch you from far in case you need.
Why would they need to watch her from afar?
I don't know, but in case she needs help.
Well, I'm pretty sure we have a voice and we can ask for help when we need it.
Because I remember once I went to the art gallery, not that I can see anything, and they got someone to walk me around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel trying to draw a comparison. Sorry, but you go on.
No, I'm saying that's it's good that you're getting assistance, David. But people have different disabilities and different levels of supporting needs.
You can probably, with a wheelchair, you can feel like they're putting you down by following you. But with my situation being blind, I accepted the assistance.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. Although we can draw some comparisons, and I can try give examples to help you understand, because you're a person who can walk. I do understand that you need assistance in different ways, so that's where we have to understand that different disabilities do need different levels of assistance. Like, you will benefit from someone walking you around and even potentially explaining to you what's in front of you if you need visual descriptions of things. But if you're a person in a wheelchair who is sighted, we generally don't need that sort of assistance. So, with disability, it's a tricky thing because there's no one size fits all approach. You have to
That's why it's always
like tailor
good
how
to,
you work to the person. So
that,
my advice to
that's
anyone watching this who's not disabled is just ask people with disabilities what they need, if they have any assistance that they'd like, and if they
just
say no,
always
accept that.
always ask, how can I assist you if you do need assistance.
Yeah, always ask before giving assistance, especially regarding like don't touch people's wheelchairs without asking permission. If you are going to help someone with impaired vision, ask if you can help them before you grab them, because I know some people grab.
Yes,
I've
had that. I've had that many times. They think then that they know where you want to go, so they cross you the road the way they think you want to go, and then they lose you.
Yeah, and I imagine that would be very frustrating because you're
obviously
being taken in a direction that you don't want to go. So,
and then you got to find your way back.
Yeah, and if anything, it can make it more disorientating because now you've lost your way, type thing.
Yeah, assumptions are dangerous.
You lost your familiarity. You're not familiar where you are anymore, and then you got to find your way back.
Yes, so just a comment for Sarah. This is the case for every human being. Like kids all being expected to learn the same at school, etc. Exactly. I agree.
Exactly. I agree,
And
Sarah.
especially when you're discriminated against, it's just not right. Because it does impact on our, mental health as well. Just one comment.
Exactly.
One unnecessary comment can ruin a person with disabilities day. It can change the way they live their day. So it's important to know that unnecessary comments are not necessary.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's
like,
like it could be just.
Go on, David.
It's like it could be like me crossing the road the other day at the crossing, and the I think it was a female. She looked at me and like, yeah, all right, like seriously, man, like you're really blind.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
like
and that leads into our next
all
point
I can do is smile back at them.
Yeah, sorry for cutting you off there.
Can you repeat that, David?
Right. What'd you say?
Well, what did you say?
I did, all they me.
Yeah.
When I walking across the road, someone, some person, they looked at me and like as in they gave me a sigh, as in like really you're blind, like seriously, okay, and
Totally
all I did
unnecessary.
was smile back at them. Just smile back at them. Didn't let it get to me.
Yeah. But it was unnecessary, and it could make you feel, I guess, low.
Yeah.
It can make you feel upset on that day.
Yes.
And just,
Yes,
just change the way, I guess, your mood. And that, for us, for people with disability, we need to be positive. But we keep getting barriers along the way that changes the outcome of how we spend the day.
Yeah, Jonathan was telling us the other day that people think like they talk to him like in a slow manner because they doesn't talk as fast as everyone. So he's not dumb. You don't like that, do you? Like, people talk to me properly. I talk different, but you can talk to me properly. I remember
Exactly.
Johnston was discriminated against that.
And how does that make you feel, John? It makes you feel upset. It makes you feel less valued as a human being.
It makes me feel devalued because instead of people hearing the content of what I say, they make stereotypical assumptions based
So they make
on
stereotypical assumptions.
yes.
Yeah, and it makes you feel devalued. It makes everybody feel devalued, especially when
It makes you feel,
people talk down on you. They talk down on you. They think that you're
yes, they
not
talk down
as
on you,
worthy as they are
and
Yeah.
exactly,
because you're somewhat different. But should that be the case? It shouldn't be the
no,
case.
we gotta put other people's feelings in place. Always think before you do something. Put yourself in their position and think, how would you want others to treat you before you do
Exactly.
something?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Treat others how you'd like to be treated yourself, really.
So, Tim, what can people do if they're faced with discrimination?
What people can do if they're faced with discrimination, firstly, have a calm conversation with the person or business or whoever has discriminated against you. Try to tell them in an educational way why what they've done isn't the right thing to do and how they can do the correct thing. If they don't want to take that advice or listen to you, your next steps are you can go to the Human Rights Commission. You could also go to a disability law firm and ask for advice, and they can probably point you in the direction of getting your case sorted better than what you could yourself. Because sometimes, most of the time, I find people are receptive to what you have to say, but there will be the odd person who goes on the defensive and doesn't want a bar of it. So if you come across that type rarely, that's when you'll have to go to someone higher up to get assistance.
Yeah, sure. And also,
Okay.
speak up. Use your voice. Very important. If you do get
Exactly.
discriminated against, speak up.
Yeah. And to add to that,
Don't
it
just
is
cop it on
very
the chin. Don't just cop it on the chin. Talk your mind. But don't be
exactly.
rude about it. It's better to be calm and forward without
Full
being
calm
rude.
and
Because if you
collected.
be rude, they're only going to be rude back.
Exactly. So, Timothy, what do you do if self-advocating doesn't work?
Yeah, if self-advocating doesn't work, like you've taken the approach of being calm, you've tried to tell people how to right the situation, and they don't listen. That's when I said that you have to go to the Human Rights Commission, because they can advocate for you in situations like that, and they have specialized teams who deal in disability discrimination cases all the time. And if your case is, I guess, severe enough, that's when it might potentially go to court, and then you'd probably see some changes in that way. But with people with disabilities, we advocate for change. We're not just being whiny disabled people. The changes that get put in place to protect people with disabilities extend to everyone. So, for instance, if an able-bodied person got cancer and they were being denied some money packages from like their work on the basis of them needing time off, they'd be protected under the Disability Discrimination Act because they're being discriminated against because of a condition outside of their control. Also, another example of how disability supports in society benefit everyone else. I always refer to the curb cut effect. So those cuts that you see in the sidewalk that allow wheelchair users to access pathways and footpaths, they can be used by multiple prams, people on bikes. It's just an example of
People
how
vision impaired, people
and they
that
help with
have
vision
vision
impairment as well.
impairment.
Yeah, it's an example of how things put in place to help people with disabilities can also help everyone else in society.
And tactile indicators.
Yeah, and tactile indicators, they're also good for wheelchair users because they like slow you down if you're getting too much speed going down a ramp. So there's many uses for them.
Exactly. And Sarah agrees as well. She wrote exactly what's good for us benefits everyone. So yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so on that topic, is there any final words you want to say?
Yeah, I think the final thing we should say is it is very tiring to have to advocate for yourself sometimes. I'm experiencing it now, having to advocate for my sister to be able to have her brother come onto the ice rink and help her out. Like, it's something I shouldn't have to do, but it's something I have to do if I want something to change. So just try to remind yourself, if you don't speak up, nothing will change. But also, don't bottle it up and don't keep it to yourself. Talk to other people with disabilities, talk to your friends, talk to your family. It's important to have people who can support you and also get behind you and advocate for you as well, because fighting the battle alone just makes it so much harder. But if you have a community behind you, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah. It's always good to look after your mental health.
And always advocate, and don't assume and presume people's conditions. Always be sensitive about other people's situations.
Yeah. So go ahead, Timothy.
I was just agreeing. I think that's all from me regarding this topic for now, but we've had a really good, insightful discussion, and you have given me some different perspectives to help me in my own advocacy with what I'm working on now. So I think this has been a really valuable conversation.
Yeah, very good stuff.
And please like and share if you can.
Good stuff.
You've been watching CripChat, your weekly podcast for everything disability. Thank you for listening to us today.
And we will see you next week, I guess.
Yeah.
See you next week, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Can we do it?
Bye.
Bye.